How you been? Tell me what you been up to, what you been doing. Like,
Good man. Yeah. So I've been just doing me for a bit, and then actually, I guess I'll just go back to out since I last saw you, which was back in 2018, I think. Yeah.
yeah,
So I kind of disappeared. I left a little bit, and then just completely went off the grain. I took that time for mental health. I just then I decided, you know what? Because I realized that my intention for photography wasn't really the right intention. Like I wasn't necessarily doing it for the art. I was just doing it to kind of like just kind of put myself out there.
yeah,
So I realized that, dude, like instead of using this thing to like do that, why don't you just like show who you really are as an individual and show the real you, right? And if people want to vibe with it, then then people will follow you. And that's why I made a complete new account. I deleted the other account. Like I didn't deactivate, I deleted it completely. And then yeah, I just restarted. So I started that back in 2017, the end of 2017, and then from there I just kind of went with it. I uploaded things that I really enjoy. Like I uploaded things. I traveled for a bit, and then I just kind of went there. And currently, right now, I'm studying to get my certification for personal training. I found a really interesting passion for fitness. So yeah, so I've been really that's like my main thing right now. And then on the side, I make videos, I do podcasts, and yeah, so that's kind of what I've been like just working on the last couple of I would say last couple of months since I came back to Van. And yeah, but it's different, but like I feel like I'm the same I'm in a similar position to where I was before, but I'm a different person.
I vibe, I
If
vibe,
you know what I mean, right?
100%. I know
Like
exactly what you mean.
sometimes you need to take that step back for mental health, and sometimes you need to restart and really figure out.
And it's so weird. You say restart. It's one of those things where you're scared of doing because you're like, fuck, what if I'm doing a big mistake or
Yeah,
whatever the fuck. But the reward afterwards ends up being so satisfying, and it's
yeah,
like
bro.
you realize that you were scared of restarting because of how people would see you
Yeah,
versus not focusing on how you would feel after a restart. And then once you go through that phase, you're like, God damn, that felt good. Like I could breathe again, kind of feeling. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, that's
100.
exactly what happened for me. Like I kind of like burnt out, and I was like, dude, like this is not right. I restarted, and then I realized the engagement went down as soon as I did
Of
that.
course.
So I was like, you know what, restart completely. But now it's like what I'm posting, it's the stuff that's meaningful to me, and it means a lot. And so when I see people comment, like sometimes I don't expect comments, but like I see people commenting, and I'm like, whoa, like people actually enjoyed this, people vibe with it, and it means more because even if it's like 40, 50 views, whatever it is, right? Even
Yeah.
100 views, like it means a lot because it means that those people are kind of on a similar wavelength and they're actually like vibe with it. So even when I release a podcast, I always get like the same like 4 or 5 people that will comment on every podcast. I'm like, these people actually listen to this podcast and they're actually like seeing some sort of value from this, and it's very interesting to see that. And that's
Yeah.
why I really enjoy that. It's been cool, man. Like last that's why like I've been wanting to reach out to like so many people, like even like yourself. Like I talked to Daniel, like was it last week or 2 weeks ago? It's like kind
Yeah.
of like rekindling some relationships that I haven't I haven't talked to like in a while. And bro, it's been fun. Like it's been
Yeah.
fun like catching up, seeing how everyone's doing. Like even I saw you, like you went on like a upwards, and then you kind of disappeared in 2018, which I'm gonna ask you about a little later.
I disappeared so many
Get the
times, bro. I
get the tea,
disappeared
get the
like
tea. I mean, I'm
yeah,
recording
yeah.
now, but I didn't really give an intro to the audience on who you are, bro. Like,
I mean, like you can give them an intro now if you'd like.
I'll give them the intro. Like
I
normally
know
when I start, I usually go, "Oh, what's up, guys?" But I kind of just we kind of vibed already, so I was like, "Yo, you know what? Let's just keep
dude, I
going with
haven't
this."
seen you in a while, so just like seeing that energy, I was like, God, fuck, this is something that yes, I need more of this, dude.
Yeah,
It's been a
man,
while.
it's been a
Fuck.
minute. Like for those of you guys, what's up?
I was gonna say, when did we meet? I think we met like
We met at the
in,
Lookout back in
yeah,
like the end of 2016. You
I think
invited
it
me
was
to the Lookout, the Vancouver
2016,
Lookout.
2016, and we went for a walk in Gastown Did we? I
Yeah,
remember
we went for a walk as well. You like set an event. I think it was like you. I think it was Izzy as well. I don't know
Izzy.
if
Oh man, Izzy. I miss Izzy.
were you.
Henry. I remember
Yeah,
Henry.
yeah,
First time meeting Henry.
yeah, yeah.
God, were we doing that evolution of photography?
Uh, Evolution
Yes,
of
we were.
photography. I
I,
remember we went to like the ghetto. Like I think I was like, yo, let's just go to like let's go to like go to Hastings and like see what's there and
we went. Yep, I remember those things.
and we went to like a
Yeah,
bridge.
we were shooting in black and white. Yeah. Anyways, it's fuck, man. It's been a while. I remember conversations we've had together. It's fuck. It's dude.
Dude,
We've
yeah.
known each other for quite some time.
Yeah, it's
Quite
been
some
like
time.
almost 4 years, bro. Like
Yeah.
I remember the time. Like I came into photography I would say maybe in October of 2016 or September, and
Yeah.
then I saw your work. I think at that time, bro, you were at like 500 or like 600 subscribe. Sorry, not followers on IG,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you were like, but your work was good. Like I remember you posted this recently, actually, the one with the bus. That's like the one I remember the most, bro. Like every time
Yeah.
I think of your work, I think of the one with the
Woo!
bus. I don't know why. There's something about that
Memories, man.
that photo
It's
is
when
like is dope.
it's when you were like honestly, I look at I the reason why I'm like smiling and chatting with you is because like recently I've been looking at memories
Hmm.
and like all the things on the journey how you started, and goddamn, like you're talking about your 50 views or whatever, but that's when you're being super authentic. Like
Of
this is
course.
when
That's what I got on my bracelet. Stay authentic.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Yeah,
Oh
man,
man.
like it was crazy, bro. Like I remember like you invited me to the event. You're like we talked for a bit, right? And then you're like, yo, come to this thing, the lookout upstairs, right? And the sunrise. I was like, oh, dope. I invited one of my friends. He didn't show up. But when I came in, bro, like there was like I saw one of the other podcasts that you did, like it was like 85 people, like as you mentioned, like it was a lot of people. And some of the people that were there, I was like, yo, man, I look up to your work, this and that. Like that day, like it kind of like helped me spiral, like in terms of not just photography but in general. Like it really showed me like the other side of like of that world, right? And that's why like I was so like grateful for just the fact that you invited me to that. It was something that it really helped me. It changed a lot. Like I went from like this guy who was like just oh yeah to like understanding the actual like the world of photography and understanding like how these people do and how these people shoot. And I don't know if you know that, but like that's why I was forever grateful. And then you put me in a group chat. I think it was you, Izzy, and something like that. But I don't think the group chat ever like I don't think it ever
Group
ended
chat,
up happening.
group chat.
Like it was there,
you
and you're
know,
like,
your intentions are there. I think everyone has their group chats. There's always that chatty person. There's always a quiet person. And then who
yeah,
at the time you're like, huh? But
yeah, of course,
dude,
different
it's
character
all
types.
vibes. And these meetups
Yeah,
were all like you want people to get together. You want
yeah.
people to converse and share that love for photography. And man, yeah, those meetups were fucking dope. There, you meet a lot of great people and great characters there for sure. By the way, I can swear, yes.
I mean, normally I don't have people swearing, but if I honestly, I don't really
If,
care. It's not the
okay,
biggest.
I'm
Like,
sorry,
nah,
my French comes out every now and then,
that's
and
fine. I know you live in Montreal. I know the Quebec. I know the French.
uh,
Like yeah, I come from that background, so I understand that.
I'll be polite.
I understand that culture.
I'll be
I
polite.
understand that culture pretty well, actually. I like even like I have a lot of cousins in France, and like and the French are different. Like they're a different breed of
We're
people.
it's not. I'm here. I was saying we. It's not that we're
You
rude.
are a we now. It is you
Yeah,
now.
it's not that we're rude. It's just like we're.
Oh, it's natural. It
Like
just
it's
comes up.
it comes. Yeah.
There's like
Oh.
yeah, it's just
Oh my goodness.
like that kind of stuff like that. That's just the French is, man. But yo, bro, like, what's like, man, it's been so long. Like, you started like I was creeping in your profile a little bit. I had to creep. You started in March, I think 2016 or 22nd or something like that. Remember the day?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I
All
started.
right,
Yeah, about 2016. Yeah, I
2016. Yeah, March.
March,
Bro,
April.
like,
Yeah.
what got you to do like start this? Like, for those of you guys don't know, because I guess we've already started the podcast.
Ah,
Um, I've known Mado for a few years now. Your fellow name is Mado El. Is it El-Khouly or El-Khouly?
no, Khouly sounds very. Khouly is an insult.
Well, shh. Well, we didn't hear that. I didn't
Yeah,
say anything.
if you were to pronounce it, it's Mado El-Khouly.
El-Khouly. Okay, Mado El-Khouly. Okay, so his name is Mado El-Khouly.
Yeah.
Gotta add the. But but yeah, I've known him for a while. He's a visual artist slash photographer slash content creator. He's amassed a decent audience on his IG, and he posts like really dope stuff. Like you can check out his work. Like every post he has, there's something to it. There's some sort of emotion, or it's actual legitimate. Like I'm not hyping you up, bro, but it's actual legitimate like art. Like it's amazing, right? So you started 4 years ago. Like, did you ever like do anything before that? Like any type of photography, any type of art?
We mentioned Izzy, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Izzy, his grandpa had like a bunch of cameras or whatnot. So Izzy was very familiar with photography,
Mhm.
and I remember I just had a Samsung phone, like an Android, and I all I did was I enjoyed hiking. You live in BC, you can't help but like go out in nature, all that sort of
Mhm.
stuff. And it started with just me looking at Izzy every now and then when he has his camera. I'm like, God damn, like, how do you achieve this? And I remember chasing after him. Like, I would have my phone and I take pictures of his camera because I was just like amazed with this whole DSLR
Yeah,
technology.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, work at one point, like Izzy and I used to work together. We used to have like a nice like work culture type of thing. And then when they shut down the location that him and I worked at, we separated. I met a new team. It was just a not a fun time,
Different, yeah.
or change rather. Like
Of course.
I'm struggling with school. I have this. I'm feeling homesick. You've got all that. And I remember my girlfriend at the time, who's like my best friend. She uh, she had um, she had a DSL, an old Nikon. I think you even had the same Nikon D3100 or
D3100, yeah. Shout out to the D3100 gang.
right. So yeah,
35
shout out
mil.
to Nikon, man. Anyone that shoots with a Nikon or Nikon, like I salute you.
Good times.
So yeah, I remember she kind of got fed up with the energy, and she's like, "Take this camera and go out shoot." And I remember meeting Izzy, and I was like, okay, crash course. Now I need to understand what can I do with this camera. And he just told me aperture priority. Just understand how the camera works. Went to Stanley Park, started taking pictures, and I fell in love. Like it was, holy crap! Like you can see, it's very cheesy when I say this, but like it felt like I could see color again. Like it was just, it's you've always dreamt or thought about how amazing it would be for you to use a camera, but then when you start understanding it and realize that you can play around with all that, that was a huge thing for me. Photoshop, that everyone asks about Photoshop. To me, like Photoshop was always a tool where I created like my prom posters, my prom invitations, that kind of stuff. So I was very familiar with Photoshop, and it was easy for me to manipulate stuff in Photoshop. And I found Lightroom to be very like intimidating to work with. But and Photoshop felt to me it was a tool for me to express how I felt about anything really. And it just I rode that wave and I fell in love. Like I think Photoshop made me fall in love with photography. And a lot of people think it's the other way around, or you start photography and then you start manipulating with stuff the more you feel like you're growing. But if it wasn't for Photoshop, I don't think I would have the passion I have for photography. And again, Photoshop to me was high school time. Like, just create some weird backgrounds, turn something to black and white. That was like dope. Oh, yo, look, I can make this black and white. That was like,
Oh,
I don't, man.
I remember you taught me that thing where like you shoot in black and white. then you edit after. I think that's what it was, or something like that.
Yeah, like a lot. When you shoot in black and white, I felt when you shoot in black and white, the raw file is going to be in color anyway. But shooting in black and white enables you to chase that contrast, to chase that
Mm-hmm.
shadows, to
That makes a
change,
lot of sense.
right? And it just felt it was a great kind of phase I went through where I started shooting in black and white, just to tell a story, or I felt like it was telling a story. But yeah, 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 yeah.
Bro,
That's
yeah,
cool.
no, it's crazy like the way that you did it. Cause I remember like you used to. I remember when I used to go shooting with you. I was like, cause I see myself as a uh like as not a mediocre photographer, but I just see myself as I just shoot, right? I think I'm a regular shooter.
Yeah.
But when I saw you, bro, like you had like a vision before you shot it. Like you had like your vision, and then you would shoot, and then like a few days later, or maybe a few weeks later, you would literally come with your vision. Is that like how you like approach all your photos, bro?
Yes, and if anyone's watching this, it's not the best idea to do so all the time, because it gets very yeah, you have something in your mind and you go chase that, or at least I have this, I see, I see, I'm inspired by a lot of things. I'm inspired by everything around me, conversations I have with friends, music, like that's my biggest inspiration. And you kind of visualize these, or I visualize these sort of ideas through listening to music, through conversing with people, through just flipping on Instagram even sometimes. And that idea just sticks there. And my goal is, how can I make that come to life based on the environment around me? I went to think of an example. I went to the Vancouver Aquarium, and I freaking love that. And I was like thinking to myself, wouldn't it be cool if Vancouver was in an aquarium? Okay, cool. So that's the idea. Have the entirety of Vancouver appear as if it's inside a water tank. Okay, cool. So where can I capture that? And then I
My
start
God.
thinking about the certain locations.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like I reached a point where I used to be trigger happy. As a photographer, you're getting into this, you start taking pictures of absolutely everything,
Of course,
trigger
of
happy.
course.
But I reached a point where I arrive at location and I know the one click, and then I'm done, and then I go home and start editing. So that was like bringing that vision to life. But it also sets you up for failure sometimes, because you're so fixated on creating this idea, and you feel like you have the skill to create it, and you feel like you got that one shot and you're good to go. But you go back home and you're like, this is garbage. I don't want to do this no more. You like, you become so fixated on this one thing.
Right.
So that's where it's like a pro and a con. But yeah,
Vision.
you think of a vision and how can I bring it to life? And that's essentially how my photography became. It's just like trying to create things that I think about, and I only go shoot to recreate them. So yeah,
What's your
planning.
success rate then? Like, do you usually like do you fail a lot in terms of like when you're trying to create a certain
I
image?
think I think at the start my success rate was it was quite high. Like at the start of it, it was, I would say, like 90%, 80% or whatnot.
Crazy.
Like everything, I always managed to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But the the downside is, and I'm going to be very honest, the downside is I have an ego, where if you boost that ego, I will feel like I am capable of doing this. If you tell me, like when I worked in sales and people told me, oh my God, you're number one salesperson, you're killing it, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, I'm the shit. So, but then you start, you know what I mean? Like
That's you.
you
Yep.
then
Ego. Yep. Mm-hmm.
ego, and then you start
Yep.
slacking, and then and then once you start slacking, you become hard on yourself, and it's like, fuck, I used to do this with my eyes closed. Why can't I do this anymore? Kind of thing. So now my success rate, if I have a vision and I go create it, my success rate now, it's almost like 30%, maybe, if
What?
anything. Yeah, dude.
Damn.
it is so bad because I tell myself you're better than this. Like, you're your worst critic, right? You're like,
Hmm.
fuck, I used to do this with my eyes closed. I'm better than this. Oh man, you can tell. So then you end up focusing on minor details, and that's where it hurts, so that now I even like recently just posted, I'm like, I used to have fun. I used to,
Right.
you saw that bust with the eyes, and I
Yeah, I
didn't
love
feel
that
so.
one. That's a favorite.
Yeah,
That's my favorite one.
when I look at it right now, I'm like, I can't believe, I'm like, the shadows, you can tell it's fake. Oh my god, that's rain. It's not even raining on the ground. Like,
Do you feel like it's because you got better, like you're more experienced and you understand, or do you also feel like, I don't know if you're like this, but do you ever feel like you're trying to appease to the audience as well, or is it what's the
I
thing
would be
behind it?
lying if I didn't say it's a combination of everything.
Yeah,
Like, one, the audience is responsible for boosting my ego.
of course.
They're telling you, "Yo, this is dope." So you're like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you're vibing. So then you end up thinking, "Okay, man, they've seen this already." That's
Right.
that's that's the that's
Mm.
the first step. It's like you think to yourself, "They've seen this already." They then are expecting times two,
Yeah, of
or
course, of course.
you vibe, and then
It's
you, as a person that has been doing it, or you assume that, I've been doing this for quite some time now, my skills should be higher up, where I should, like, especially when you're working with like, I find that when you're working with Photoshop, you want to make something that feels very surreal or feels very unrealistic. You want to make it feel like as there is some truth to it, like it's almost believable. So that's where you even become worse of a critic. You're like, fuck, people, I could tell that this is fake. They can tell it's fake, which is really heartbreaking, because it used to be, oh my God, I had so much fun creating this. But now
yeah.
I'm like, I'm not having fun. I'm being very strategic. I'm being, you know what I mean? And
No, I
it's,
get it. I get it because I remember when that same lookout thing, right? I talked to one of the photographers, right? And that guy, I think he had like 20,000 followers, and I was like there. I was like all excited. I was like, yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, this and that. He's like, once you get to a certain point, like when you start, because I think he was doing it professionally, right? He's like, it's not as enjoyable as it was before. And I think it's this excitement that sometimes that you lose, like even in terms of like this like making video and stuff like that, which is why I actually restarted everything, right? It's like making content is like not easy sometimes, because sometimes you're like, yes, you want to create content that resonates with you, but at the same time too, it has to be like watchable. It has to be like I feel like now, especially, like maybe you can resonate. Our attention spans are so bad now that even if you post something on IG, people will like, and they may leave like a comment, like a little like 2 words, like nice photo or tone. Like actually at that time too, it was like that too, tones. But like
don't,
it's a little bit different. But I also feel like something that you've been doing like for a while now. You put stories behind your each post too, and sometimes the story doesn't even relate to the actual image. And I feel like that's something that also resonates with you. And I feel like the fact that you built your audience, like you built an audience, people resonate with it. And you put story times. I think your friend's like Sam Abadi or something like that. I've never seen his face, but I know he's there. Um,
yeah.
what's like? Do you feel like those stories kind of like help you at least like with the content as well, like in terms of like your content creation?
Sometimes it's I man, one of those things where like my stories or my captions, I'm kind of sneaky. I'll be very honest. I thought people don't read,
Oh yeah.
and I do it in such a way where I'm sometimes obnoxious. I'm sometimes just like, I showcase different sides of me, and I'm like wondering if people will catch on that or not.
Okay,
Just like,
bye.
yeah, okay, bye.
Stuff
Like,
like
you
that.
know what I mean? Like, I say all my shit. I'm like, okay, bye.
Yep.
And it's more like a test to see, because I got tired, as he said, I got tired of people saying, "Oh, good tones," or blah blah blah. So then it helps me filter my audience that actually cares about my journey versus the people that care about my photography? Are you
Yeah,
creating
of
good
course.
content for
Of
me
course. Of
to
course.
comment or not? Versus, hey, I'm actually following you for you. So then I reached a point where, um, remember we were just talking about catering to a certain audience and you're creating content. Is it good enough that people are going to like it? Blah, blah, blah. I reached a point where I was like, I don't care. This is my platform. And my followers is a number that I genuinely no longer care for. Like if it grows, it grows. It gives you a recognition. It helps you land some contracts, all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be inauthentic to get attention. I'm
Of
gonna
course.
show you
I
the
understand.
ugly side of me. And I remember um, for like
Not too
dur-
ugly,
like
I'm assuming.
I honestly I reached the point where I didn't care. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it's sad thinking that way because you don't care if you offend. It's like me saying I don't care if I offend you or not, but it's
Yeah.
also a part of me that I would rather speak the truth, speak my
Mm-hmm.
mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If this is my platform and you're following me, you're gonna get everything.
Of course,
Like
I get it. Yeah, of course, of course, of
because
course.
the filtered version, to me at least, was like creating those posts just to get the likes.
Mm-hmm.
That felt that is when I disappear and I'm like, God damn, like I'm being this version that isn't me. I'm being this version of myself so that people like me. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
of course, I get
You know
it.
what I mean?
I get
Or
it.
screw that. So that's
Yeah.
where it became it became demanding, and that's where the captions, like just say some random stuff. Is it are people gonna actually read that or not? I remember, yeah. So yeah, I could go on with this, and
Yeah,
it
I like it. I like the fact that you mentioned that because, I think that even at some point you didn't really you didn't show your face like to the audience. Like, you started. I think you. I remember there's one day where you started showing your face, and then I think that's where. This was actually the time when we were both together too, right? I think there was a time when I met you. I think you were at like six again 500, 600 followers, and then you kind of went through this huge like a session, like you really grew, and then I think when you were at like 2000, I was still in the scene at that time. You showed your face, and I remember from that time to the next year, you grew to like I don't know how many. Like you grew a lot. Like your followers just grew. And I remember meeting you at this event, this Van City event. It was I think it was at the I don't know, what that park name is. Um,
yeah.
I
I
was
took that part.
yeah, there you go. Like I was like, yo, Mado, what's up? Long time no see, right? I couldn't get a conversation with you, bro, because so many people were approaching you. Like, are you e.madou? Are you e.madou? Are you e.madou? I was like, damn, this guy's made waves. I'm like, damn, like I've fallen off. I'm just like, I'm just there, and then like everyone's literally approaching you, and I was like, interesting. I feel like maybe you can attest to that. Maybe a big reason is you kind of put yourself out there and you showed the real motto, like the real you, the Mado El-Khouly, not El-Khouly, you know. so so you showed the real you, and I feel like that's what sometimes an audience like resonates with. And when you put your stories out there too, right, like your Sunday story times and stuff like that, shout out to your homie Sama Badi, like we'll never see his face, but like
I
he's
did show his face a couple of times, but
oh, did you?
it was so discreet. It was like, here's Sam for 2 seconds and bye.
Well, and then
Yeah,
I
man.
gotta I gotta creep a little more and see where
Man.
Sam is then. But yeah,
Yeah.
bro, like what do you like? It's crazy that you were able to do that. Like in terms of like your growth, like how was it like that one year that you grew? Like I was it one year? Like you went up to like freaking like 2,000 followers to like I was around that amount that many followers too, and then you just went up to like 20K, like boom. Like what was that like, bro?
It was weird, and like you man, it's weird because I remember when it started, and
Mhm.
I have Prince from
Singer?
no, no, Art of Visuals. I
Okay.
have a lot to thank them for, because I remember they featured me as an artist when I only had like a couple of thousand followers, and I have my presets there. I remember it was, to me, that was huge. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
okay, people, all right, people are noticing, but it was, no, not you. Sorry, my guy just started.
Is
Not
your
you,
guy
bro.
called Prince too?
Probably. And I remember, like, people started noticing. It was weird. It was cool. I liked it. I'd lie if I say I didn't like it. It was
Of course, of
enjoyable,
course.
but it came with a lot of trolls as well, because that's when you're like, God damn, can you continue being that? Can you continue being authentic, or what? But I loved
Of
it, man.
course.
It was cool. I met a lot of people, like a lot of people, and I was like, I'm very humbled by the experience that I got to meet a lot of people, collaborate with a lot of people. But I will tell everyone this: followers doesn't mean work. It doesn't mean paper. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. It just means that people like your pictures,
Right.
and it really doesn't mean anything. It's just a number, and then if you're chasing that number, you're gonna not succeed. I remember someone told me, "Oh man, how do I get to 10,000 followers?" It's like, why do you want 10,000 followers? If you give me a reason right now why you want 10,000 followers, then sure, I'll give you the secrets. I don't know what the secrets are, if I'm being honest,
Yeah,
but
of
you know what
course.
I mean. Like, there, apart from the swipe up feature, I didn't notice anything different. It's kind of an attention that, if you're not ready for it, you can also fail quite a bit. And yeah. I don't know what the secret was. I'll tell you this: I was having fun. I was just, all it was. It's just, I saw something, and it was people. I realized people enjoyed that I was creating something. I want to say this in the most, like, grounding way, or humble way, is I was creating something that was different in Vancouver.
Hmm.
And because Vancouver is such a photogenic city,
Yeah,
and
very.
do you know what I mean? So I
Yep.
was like, anyone could go there with a camera, take the exact same photo. How could I make it different?
Yep, I
And
agree.
I think that way of thinking is what got me to wherever I am right now. But I'm not original in that sense at all, because I looked up to a lot of people. There's a guy named Justin. He goes by Photified, and I probably talked to you
Oh
about
yeah.
this.
Okay.
Probably
Yeah, yeah,
showed
yeah.
you
Yep, yep,
his,
yep.
his Instagram, but he did it in Toronto. He made Toronto look weird, and I was like, and I reached out to him. We chatted multiple times, and I was like, I want to do whatever you're doing in Vancouver.
Yeah,
If
for
you
sure.
put King Kong on top of the CN Tower, okay, what's a building that we have that's like the CN Tower that I can put a King Kong on top of? And it was just like that. It was just having fun creating something different,
Mhm.
and that's what, like, it was fun. It was fun. It was
Yeah,
fun
bro,
growing.
you had fun with it, and I think that's something that it's funny going back to the point where you mentioned followers doesn't equate to money, right? The reason why I noticed that was because when I started meeting a lot of different like creators, especially on Instagram with even 100K, I noticed that they weren't really like they weren't doing it full time, or it wasn't they weren't able to like sustain themselves through it. And as someone who like I'm more of like a business minded person, and so it I noticed that like you don't need to have so many followers to like yeah sure you can maybe get some deals here and there and
Yeah,
this and
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
but realistically like a lot of the people that were there they didn't it's like their intention wasn't necessarily to like for me personally like I was doing it for financial gain like
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that was
Which
my
is
goal
fine.
because
Which
yeah
is
because I wanted
it's
to
a
build it as a
valid goal,
career.
100%.
um but for other people it was like it was more of like art behind it. It was more like connecting with this audience. It was more like, trying to find people that, that resonate with you, with your content. And I think that's what made, especially in Vancouver, that's what made it so amazing. Like, having all these meetups with everyone. People just genuinely had an interest to shoot photos. And I think that's where, like, especially with the meetups, like now we don't really have as many meetups, obviously because of COVID.
Yeah.
But like, it's something that sometimes you can detach that, like, that financial thing with the art. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do really well. But yeah, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what do you think in terms of that?
Um,
Kind of loaded question.
no, it's totally fine. I'll give you my thoughts on it. Um, I'm best thing about meetups is you meet a lot of photographers
Yeah,
that do it full time. They do
of course.
photography full time, like it's their job. When
Hmm.
you look at their followers, they don't have the 20,000 followers, the 10,000
Of course,
followers.
of
They just
course, of
have a couple
course.
of hundred actually, but they're doing it full time. They're sustaining themselves.
Yep.
And I think because they're thinking of it as a career
Hmm.
versus when you think about photography from a social media perspective, your focus now no longer becomes your art, getting clients. Your focus is now, how can I get more people to like me? Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
It
get it.
doesn't
I get it.
translate, and thinking about how can I get more people to like me doesn't translate, or to like my photos or to follow whatever, it doesn't translate to money.
Hmm.
My first gig that I was like, whoo, wow, like okay, okay, people are it was Cadillac. I remember Cadillac when
I
they reached
remember
out.
that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was
Dude, I
dope.
had 1,500 followers. That's it.
Yeah.
But they reached
Yeah,
out to me, and
really interesting. I didn't know that.
I had 1,500 followers, and when they reached out to me, they said
Amazing.
one thing. They're like, "We are here only because we want you to create surrealistic images. We
Yeah.
don't want images of the just our vehicles. We want you to include Photoshop." And just them saying that, I was like, okay. So they're vibing with this. They're vibing with what I'm creating
Yeah, they
versus
want you for you.
people.
Yeah.
And that was it. But at the same time, there are some people that when they reach out to you, all they're looking for is how many people do you have a reach to. So
Yeah, of
like now
course.
when I get contracts, they always message me telling me, hey, can you send us our stats? It's like, God damn, okay, so you want to see how many people I'm reaching, how old are they, all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, okay, so at this point, you don't care about my art. All you care about is my following. So that's when I tell people, if that's what you guys want, if you're on Instagram to be a billboard, because I'll be very honest, you end up being a billboard.
Of
Like
course. Of course.
companies are just reaching out to you because
Yep.
you
People
are,
look at you differently, of course.
it's just a bill. Yeah, you're just a billboard. At this point,
Yeah.
that's when it's like, yeah, okay, cool. Like I don't, sure. It doesn't end up being as enjoyable.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
not like I'm not hating on any person that does it for a
Hmm.
living, or that's what they do. Actually I salute you, because I'm like, I don't know how you're doing it, so I like salute you for doing that. I'm more like, I just want to express myself, and that's, I always, especially now that I've gone away from it and then just thought about what I really want to do, I'm going back to, why did I start this? I started this as a form of expression.
Yep.
The moment I left that, the moment that I drifted away from that, that's when it was like not fun, not fun.
Was
So
it?
I, sorry?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's not fun. So when people ask me about like the following, or when they ask me about the financial, like how can you make money? I look at them, I'm like, you're asking the wrong person. And I end up like genuinely being real with them. I'm like, if you're
Yeah.
looking for a nice answer, I'm the last person to talk to. If you're looking
Right.
for a
Right. Right.
downer of an answer, which is it's going to be very authentic, then hold on, because I got a lot of things to say. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's my 2 cents on getting paid versus followers. Yeah, it really depends on why you're doing it. If you're doing it for the art, or if you're doing it for uh, being a billboard, I call it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree with you there, because the thing about it too is sometimes it's, you know, there's a lot of people out there, especially online right now, who are creating. Like, a lot of my audience are people who are like kind of new creators, and a lot of the creators they're like they're creating because they want to do this as for a living. They want to do this full time, right? So sometimes this illusion of, I need to have this many followers, or I need to get this certain audience to like be able to do this full time, right? But some of the people that I've come across recently, like one of the other guys called the Bearded Boost, he has about like 250 subscribers, but he's getting products sent to him right now. Like, he's getting products sent to him. He's building a community. Anytime he posts something, he gets a decent amount of people commenting on his videos. When he's throwing a live stream event, I think like tomorrow, like he's doing things, and it's 250, I think that's how much he has, 250 subs. So it's like sometimes it's like you don't need to have that audience to like the huge audience, because sometimes sometimes it is a quality or a quantity thing. And when I noticed that, when I had over like 3,000 4,000 followers on Instagram, right, I realized that a lot of the people it wasn't the same, right? Like, now I have like probably like 400 followers, but I feel like it's more of a quality. Like, people that are following me are genuinely following me for what I'm doing, and that's what it means a lot. Like, I know that if I put something out now, it's probably going to mean a lot more than when I had all those followers in the past. And I think that's something that, like, you touched the ball on that. Like, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but you touched the ball on that, like, in terms of like having followers. Like, if you guys are trying to like build something, build a business or whatever, like I'll go on a business tangent because it's kind of my background. um but if you guys are trying to build a business, don't think about how many followers you have. Like, one of my teachers for personal training, he doesn't have many followers. Like, I don't know how many followers he has, not too many, but he's doing his personal training full time, right? And that's basically word of mouth, people that he met in the real world, and this and that. So what the online space does, it just kind of enhances what you're doing. So even in terms of my business, right? Like, when I get into personal training, or when I was doing photography, I took it as a business. So I got a lot of clients simply, for different types of things. So I was doing some weddings, I did photo shoots. I was doing it more in that aspect, and people would hire me for those reasons. And a lot of times too, it was like people that knew me personally. They would be like, "Hey, like, I know you. You want to do a wedding for me?" They never saw that like I don't do weddings, but they knew that, okay, he's a photographer and he's doing this for a living. Okay, you know what? Let's hire him for that, right? So I think that's something that I went on a tangent there, but something that's
No,
super
no,
super
no.
important.
I 100%. No, 100%. I
Um,
agree with that. I 100% agree with
yeah,
that.
it's
Honestly, like you touched on it earlier. You The moment people know who you are, they're following that.
yeah, of course,
When you stop being authentic, you end up just being, a person that has pretty photos. So, well, I honestly feel like there's a lot there are a lot more underrated photographers out there that have and produce better content than I do, and they don't have the following.
right. There's a
People are
lot.
a
Yeah, I
lot.
agree.
Like, I am
I agree,
nothing.
bro.
Like, so if you're looking for pretty photos, I tell people, you're gonna reach the point where you're gonna be disappointed, because
Right.
I'm not gonna produce banger after banger after banger after banger. So that's where uh, a really good friend of mine, Chantel, she we were having a conversation
Mm-hmm.
just like a couple of weeks ago, and she told me, I was saying I'm kind of done with this, and I'm
Like
scared of
photography,
posting
or
with
just like.
photography. Yeah. I was like, I'm kind of done with Instagram, to a point where even in my text, you can read, like, when I read my own captions, I'm like, God damn, I was a little bit harsh there. Like, I could have, but I reached a point where I said, I'm bored of this.
Yeah,
I literally told my audience, I'm bored of this.
yeah.
This is not fun anymore.
Was
But
this
that was because
2018?
This is just like 2 months ago.
Oh, damn. Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Holy yeah, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
bored of this.
Yeah,
It's
of
not
course.
exciting.
I get
Your
it. I understand 100%.
the workflow was the same. Go, click, come back, edit, push. Click, come back, edit, push. It
Hmm.
felt like I can only write so many captions too. You know what I mean?
Of course. Of
I
course.
and then I reached a point where I was like, okay, who are my idols? And to tie it back to what you were saying about my captions when I'm telling a story, why am I doing this? Clearly, there's something there. And then she told me, if you had to do it all over again, what would you do? And then I was like thinking to myself, I was like, God damn, okay, cool. And she said, do it. And if you're worried about your audience, tell them, hey, I'm going to be testing the waters here and there. So if you're following, brace yourselves, and or you just do it. If you don't care for them, just do it. And if someone likes it, they'll like it. I tell people Instagram, Facebook, right now, everyone has seen The Social Dilemma. I would assume
Yep.
so,
Yep. Hmm.
right? They care about ads.
Of
So
course. Of course.
when you're scrolling Instagram now, back then you were telling me, how did you get a lot of followers? Well, back then there weren't a lot of ads. So your photo is there. I remember
Right.
seeing
Of
your,
course.
I was like, God damn, there's this photo. Oh, whew, okay. Like I'm seeing a lot of your content.
Yeah.
Now I only see the the people that are on my feed are the accounts that have the top engagement, and it's usually media companies. Like all I'm seeing are Complex. I'm seeing Beautiful Destinations. I'm seeing, you know what I mean. I'm
Yep.
no longer seeing my followers.
Of course. I get it.
So the game changed. So
Yeah.
now I'm
It's
like
changed a lot.
looking.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's changed a lot. So now I'm like looking. Okay, I want people to see me more of. It sounds weird when I say it out loud. Hey, look at me. But I want people to see my journey. I want them to see my success, my failures, my
Of course.
stories.
Of course.
Where can I do that? And that was video. And that was like that new challenge where you're like, holy, it's so fun now. I'm
Yeah.
having. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're creating something different,
Yep.
like
I get it.
you're gonna take that
100%.
photo anyway. You're gonna take that photo, you're gonna edit it, and you're gonna have the same workflow. Nothing's changing. But I can talk about my journey
Of
because
course.
that's you know what I mean. So that ends up being your what was my tantrum? Oh, tantrum. Yeah. So things are changing
No, I
essentially.
like
Like
that. I like that. No,
like
the fact that you said that, because it's what it is it's progression, right? Oftentimes what happens with all of us, right? Sometimes we get into this space, right? And sometimes we just need to like kind of take another leap and try something different, evolve. Like you're evolving as a creator, and I've noticed that you've been posting on YouTube, and you've been a lot more consistent too. And you've been posting like time slices. Well, and consistent enough. I mean, your content's quality, so I mean, like if people find it, they're gonna watch it anyways. But you're evolving as a creator, and I think that's something that it's normal, it's natural. And I think you started posting on like some reels. I'm sure you're on TikTok as well. And
not I'm on TikTok just for my entertainment. It's so
entertainment.
addicting,
Okay.
bro. It's so addicting.
So
Anyways,
addicting. Yeah, TikTok's pretty addicting. Sometimes I gotta like delete the app to kind of
right?
like just focus. I had that, especially because the algorithm caters to you. It's so annoying, bro. Like
It
it,
is,
it
and there are no ads, and
yeah,
you're
no
like,
ads yet. No ads yet.
no ads yet. And then eventually you see this guy that says, "All right, hold on there. I noticed that you've been scrolling for a long time." You're like, "God damn it! It's
Yep.
been an
Yep.
hour of it."
Yep.
Like, God
Yep.
damn it.
Yeah, you
Delete.
can. Well, I mean, that's the thing, because our attention spans are so low now. TikTok is really great. It's kind of just like, okay, well, I could watch a 10-second video. Okay, like that. Dun, 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 dun. Like that kind of stuff. It's just like like stupid stuff like that, and like sometimes it's funny.
100.
And the algorithm is so perfect. Like it kind of like caters to
So well.
the person,
So well.
and you relate.
Yes. So well. It's so good. I kind of like that the algorithm is so good.
Yeah.
And again, I use TikTok not for. That's kind of where I'm terrified of. Like, okay, so I started doing YouTube, and with YouTube, I started with a lot of tutorials, and I reached a point where I'm like, God damn, I'm just producing these tutorials. I'm not. I don't want that. I want a
Hmm.
platform where if you're following me, you're actually following
Right,
me. So
right. You want the real
brace
you.
yourself. I'm gonna be political from time to time, and I realize Instagram fucking hates it when you're political. Like, they really dislike it.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, they're all in the same.
Everyone, like, when so,
Twitter too.
but you- dude, like, my everyday life influences my artwork,
Of
and
course, of course.
you kind of want to tell more of the behind the scenes. And when I say behind the scenes, I'm not talking about how you achieved a certain image, but
Yeah, of
actually
course.
what you went through to produce that certain image. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
of course, of
Um,
course. It's important too
so
because a lot of your audience too, they want to know, bro. Like now, I'm sure a lot of people that are following you, they want to know, like, how did you? Like a lot of people, a common question used to be, what camera do you use? What camera do you use? Which is
yeah,
the I hate that question, but now it's like people want to know, like, yo, like, how did you create this image? Like how?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
Yeah, and bro, like when you back, like people, I remember people were like posting images, like they were like kind of recreating some of your images, and I remember you reposting that, and you would have like your backgrounds and stuff. You would, it was more like I feel like the audience, like I don't know about now, but like I feel like the audience, like they really connected with you, and I feel like in the video space, like I feel like in terms of the video space, and I was telling Daniel this too, like he's making YouTube content. Like he makes, I think, once every couple of weeks, and he just talks about his what's going on in his life. Like he just sits there.
I love that. Yeah,
He just
yeah,
sits and he talks about his life, and people. He's not necessarily trying to reach a new audience, but he's just trying to, like, people that resonate with him, people that like him, to just know how he's doing. Because there's people that genuinely want to, like I wanted to know how you were doing, right? Like I wanted to like see like, oh, like how things were. Like I remember even in 2018, you disappeared for a while, and then you made a post, and then you're like, I completely disappeared off the grid. I completely deactivated all my social medias. I haven't been answering my text messages, and I made a blog on that. And I was like, interesting. Like, I can relate to that because I understood it. I understand how pressuring it can be to be in that position. Like
yeah.
obviously I don't know like how wait, was that what happened there, bro? Now I think about that. Like, what was it? Were you
Uh,
burnt out? Like, was it, or was it
it
just personal
was,
life? If it's personal life, don't, yeah, whatever.
yeah, it was, it was it was a lot of things.
Yeah,
It was a lot of things. It was, I'm gonna be honest, like, it's hard when there's like a certain expectation, like
of course, I
with
get it.
everything, like with social media. Sure, there's like this expectation, and it's a false expectation that you can sometimes put on yourself,
Yeah,
where you're like,
100%.
people want this certain thing and they don't want that. And so I genuinely just felt like I was being very inauthentic. Like,
Mm.
I was, yeah, being just very inauthentic, and I burnt out. I burnt out big time, and it was, and so that was one. Another one was, I didn't like what I was creating. I genuinely hated it, and it was like, of course, like, sure, I went away, but that doesn't mean I didn't take pictures. And every single
Of
time I
course, of
take a
course.
picture, and it's like, oh, this is garbage. This
Yeah,
is,
yeah, 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 yeah.
but it's not even your the critique wasn't, when I say garbage, I'm not talking about like how you edited it was garbage, or I was like, I what the fuck was that? Like,
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
get
you
it.
end up with, it didn't feel good. And then on top of that, personal life, work,
Of course, yeah.
everything was just
Of course,
boom,
of
boom,
course.
boom. And social media to me felt very, it's so funny, man. Like, you watch The Social Dilemma,
Yeah, of course,
and
yeah.
I was like looking at this, and at one point, I'm guilty for it, and I'll admit to it. But I looked at it, and I was like, not making fun, but I was like, oh my gosh, social media is very dangerous for kids. Holy crap! Like, kids uh, are very vulnerable. Like, teenagers, like the new
Mhm.
generation, they're very vulnerable to that because of this, and that. Like, if you want to know, watch social media, The Social Dilemma. It tells you everything about it.
Right.
But what I didn't notice, and I had to like take a step back, I was kind of a victim of that. Like
Hmm.
to some degree, I was also so attached in that, um, like that social media kind of like cage
Yeah,
where I
I get
was,
it. Yeah.
do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was there, and it was just everything was just happening at the same time, and I didn't feel like I was being authentic every time I wanted to post something. I'm just doing it just so people say, just so I can tell people, hey, I'm still here, I'm still
Yeah, I
alive,
remember
I'm
that. Yeah.
still
Hey, I'm still alive. Don't worry.
like,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Of
And
course,
I
of
was
course.
again, like when I look back at it, I was also being an asshole. I was like, y'all weren't like y'all probably not even didn't even notice me gone, but I'm still alive. Like
Nah,
like
bro, we care.
I always just again I can't be 100% serious. I have to be like lighten up the mood or whatnot.
Yeah, of course.
But it was tough, man. And like we talk about videos, we talk about sharing
Mhm, mhm.
our journeys, but I if it's so funny, I tell people this, but I battle a lot with like the insecurity of my work, the insecurities of just me being in front of a camera. Just
Of
it's
course.
like
I get it.
you're
Yeah.
you're always thinking, what are people thinking about
Of
this, or
course.
what,
Of course.
you know what I
I get
mean?
it.
And
Yeah,
it
for
ends up
sure.
being so bad. But that got into my head for a very long time, and I I didn't want to be thinking about that when I'm shooting content or when I'm creating something. When as I was creating it, I was constantly thinking about what are people's thoughts on what I'm creating right now. Let me think like them. But then you end up being your worst critic, so you end up saying
Yeah.
these mean things to yourself. Like it is so bad, and I witnessed that.
Hmm.
I saw it, and I was like, that's not healthy. I need time. I'm I'm backing up. But it's weird because once you witness that, I felt even when I came back or when I started posting again, it was so easy to think like that again. You know what I mean? So it's a
You get
I
into
want
that cycle. Yeah. No, you
it's
definitely
a
do.
cycle, but you also reach a point where okay, bye. Like I'm gone. I'm moving to Montreal, and that was actually the breaking point.
Yeah.
It
But yeah,
was
you did. Yeah.
I was like, okay,
That's
bye.
what motivated you to go to Montreal?
100%. I was like, I need I need time off. I need to change
Hmm.
my audience. I need my surroundings. I need like this whole not self-discovery or whatnot, but it's more like
Hmm.
if I'm because I love connecting with people. I
Of course.
love
Yeah.
like it's just my personality.
Yeah, of course.
I love finding a common ground with someone and connecting with them and all that.
Hmm.
But I needed to step back and almost become unapproachable,
Yep, of
where
course.
take your time, discover more about yourself kind of thing. And then
Hmm. Hmm.
when
Hmm.
you come back and you create shit, it's gonna be like, this is actually what I love. Check this out, guys. Do you
Of
like it?
course.
No,
Yep.
I don't care, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I get it. 100%. I
And that
resonate
was
completely.
that was the journey. 2 years of back and forth, coming back, going away,
Hmm.
coming back, going
Hmm.
away, and
Hmm.
now it's weird, but I'm having fun again.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
100%.
I take social media detoxes all the time now. Like, so if I feel like I'm like, if even if I'm uploading, like I'm getting like maybe 1 or 2 followers a day, and if I feel like I'm mentally just struggling and I'm not doing well because I have like my audience already knows I suffer with depression. So if I feel like my depression is taking hold of me, then I will just disappear. I'll let my audience know, okay, I'm going for a 1 month social media detox. Maybe you want to try it too. Then I'll disappear for the month, or maybe I'll come back like when the month, like a few months before the month ends. Like
Yeah, yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
so I'll be on for like 25 days. I'm not on social media. Maybe I'll be on Twitter every now and then because I don't know. I'm obsessed with Twitter.
Sure.
But I will just be gone. And then, but when I come back as a different person. Like I just come back better. Because sometimes what happens is when you're stuck in this social media space, you kind of lose touch with reality and what's really going on, right? Like, there is this person there. I have a family. I have this going on. I want to focus on the school. This sometimes a lot of us use social media as an escape, and when sometimes when that escape is not it doesn't, you know, you start to lose this little like touch of like this escape. Like you lose it,
100%.
bro. So like
100%.
when you start to lose it, like this, you know, this gratification, or what's the word? It's the word slipping out of my head. Dopamine rush. When the
Yeah,
dopamine is
yeah.
gone, what do you do now? Like, what do you do now? Right?
It's yeah, 100%, 100%. And you were saying, you mentioned earlier, like not responding to messages. And I I worked in tech. I had to, like, if you met me during that time, you would have seen you carrying two phones, and and each phone has like a group chat, and then you're trying to be active on it, and it just felt like an overwhelming with social media. It gets overwhelming because honestly, if you're on social media and if you want to engage with your audience, you end up talking a lot. Like, like you and I, we message each other, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And but that's times 20, times
Of
100 times.
course. Yeah. Of
You know what I
course.
mean?
Of
And at one
course.
point it reaches where, whew, I need to be like, you almost have this phase. Okay, social media model, let's do it. Oh fuck, this is too much. Like that's
Yep.
you know what I
I get
mean.
it.
So that ends
I
up
get
being
it.
the detox, but it's overwhelming, man. And when I listen to myself talk about it right now, it almost feels like, like you're just bitching or complaining, but
Not at all, man. Not at all.
it like, at the end of the day, there's
We're
pros and
humans.
cons. Yeah, they're 100%,
Humans. We're
100%.
not programmed to consume all this stuff. Like we're
It's
we're not, yeah, we're not programmed. Like all these, like I was watching a few years ago, back 2016 or 2015. There's a guy, Brandon Bouchard, and I always remember this. He's like, I think it was like why you're tired during the day, right? He's like, one of the big things that we do is when we scroll, when we watch, it's like you're on YouTube, right? For example, you scroll, you see, okay, this title, okay, how to shoot this image, or oh, like my vlog. You're processing each thing. So each thing you're processing, your brain is taking that just a little of it energy towards it. So throughout the day, that's why a lot of us are tired halfway through the day because it's like we're processing all this stuff. Even if you're not really paying attention to it, you're still processing it. And we're not,
yeah,
as humans, we're not supposed to, like, we're not programmed
we're not
to.
computers. We're
Yeah,
not computers.
exactly.
Our
Exactly.
RAM is very limited.
Yeah,
Like
no,
honestly, that's what
100%.
it is. Our RAM is very limited, and I 100%
Yeah,
I
and
can
that's
relate
why
to that.
I just recommend sometimes just to take a detox sometimes. Like not everyone, like some people they do really well and they can consume content like
That's
it's
self
nothing.
control. It's
That exactly.
honestly like when I look back at things, and I self reflect, I caused this to happen. I
Mhm.
like, as much as, like, yeah, sure, there are some things within your control and there are other things that aren't within your control.
Mhm.
But at the same time, when I look back at things, I'm the one that went on my phone and just got addicted to it. I'm the one that set false expectations that I can respond to all of your messages right away when you message me. And
Right,
then
of course.
just it builds those small little habits, builds and builds and builds, and then that's when you have all these things that you feel like you have to do because that's who you are.
Obligations,
But
fake obligations.
big obligation, it's
Like fake, yeah.
so honestly, like, there are some people that are doing it and they're not dealing with, like, having to detox, or when they're detoxing they're just doing it because they're away on vacation or whatnot. But that
Mhm.
has to do a lot with self-control. And
Mhm.
even your cell phone now, you can control the screen on time, you can control how much you want each app to
Yeah.
use each app, whatever, you know what I mean. It comes down to self-control, and
Yeah.
I think it also comes down to having to think about, why are you on social media to begin with. If you're a photographer, if you're a content creator, if you want to create whatever you want to create and you want to put yourself out there on social media, think about why you're doing it, and keep that, like, almost vision in mind, and keep,
Mhm.
like, always remind yourself, why am I doing that? Anytime you
Right.
feel negative about it, just take a step back, be like, okay, I don't want to feel like this again. How can I not feel like this again? And that's sort of like, you're doing it, you're noticing that, okay, I've spent enough time, I'm going to go on a detox now. you need a detox. You need a detox to plan your next podcast. You need a detox to,
Of course,
like interact with, we we're on social media not because we're addicted to social media. We're addicted to human interaction.
of
But
course,
what I
of
tell
course.
people, become addicted to authentic human interaction. So
Mm,
when you are addicted to that authentic human interaction, when you are on social media, you're
right.
continuing to be authentic. You're not being this version of yourself that is more attractive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's what happened when I was doing photography back in
Yeah.
2017. People were so like were so drawn. It wasn't necessarily my photography people were drawn for. People were drawn because it was just kind of like this dude just randomly showed up, and he's just like he's like combining this hustle mindset with photography. And then I met, I don't know if it's like law of attraction, but I met like guys like Gary Vee, and I met like Mark Cuban just randomly on the
Oh,
street.
dude.
And then like I was like, wait. And then so I posted that stuff. People were like, whoa, what is going on? This kid is like blowing up. I had a name like the Van City photographer.
Yeah, yeah.
But all that stuff, man, it was like I felt like a fraud. Like I honestly felt like a fraud because it wasn't me. Like part of it, yes, it was me. Like, and I
Dude.
had like I looked like an evil scientist. Man,
Oh,
every time I look at my photos there, like,
oh my
but
gosh. Yes.
but
Can you just like cut that line and then just ignore everything, all the tantrums that we went on, be like, I felt like a fraud because I felt like a fraud. Like
yeah,
that's honestly what ends up happening. You leave because you feel like I'm not real. Like this really, but yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I can go on forever on this.
no, I get it, man. I resonate.
You know what I
And
mean?
when you left, I clearly understood what happened because I had to leave too, and like obviously like with your craft, like you obviously you're refining your craft, so you didn't have to like completely delete what you're doing. But for me, I had to delete it because I had to figure out what like what's really important to you. Like as much as I like posting photography, and I still do upload some photography, like my travels stuff like that,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't 100%. I don't want to be known as the photographer. Like even now when people send me like I still get messages from people saying, "Hey, can I pay you for a gig?" And I'm just like, yeah, but right now I'm not interested. Like right now I'll recommend you to some people, but I'm just not interested. Like I got a job offer in the summer, someone wanted me to do some videos, and like I got job offers, but I decided to, well, not throw it all away, but I decided to transition. And that's why I kind of decided, let's try out fitness. Let's figure this out. Fitness has been instrumental for me and my mental health, my physical health, with my immune system and everything like that. It's helped me a
Yeah.
lot. So now it's like I've been posting stuff about like fitness, and any post I put out there, it's like it means a lot because I know that when I post something, and people have told me this, when I post something like just a workout thing, like are you exercising? Like are you exercising? If and it just keeps people accountable, whether they exercise or not. It keeps you accountable. Like hey, like am I exercising? Like
Yeah.
it'll get you thinking, right? So that's kind of why I understand completely where you went through and like this and that. And sometimes you have to reassess I always say reassess everything that's going on and figure out what really matters to you, and exactly what you said. Why am I doing this? Like what's my intention behind this? Like why am I posting this? Like is it because I want a lot of likes? Is it because I want to gain followers? Is it because of this?
Yeah.
And even if you take it as a business thing, like the most
Yeah.
important thing in a business is you want to provide you want to provide, you have to provide value if you want to
You
grow
have
your
to
business.
honestly, like I was watching before my very first video to YouTube. I was
Yeah.
you know how like the algorithm works. You search for one thing and then it you know how they tell you women sometimes find out that they're pregnant before their partners end up finding out because they're just searching for something and then Google's like, oh wow, they're searching for this. Well, whatever. So my point is, when I got into YouTube, before I got into YouTube, I got all of these recommendations on your first video on YouTube. What should you post? All that sort, how to be successful, how to monetize, how to do this, how to do that. And I remember watching one YouTuber, and he was saying, if you are on YouTube and you're not adding value to someone's um, life, or if you're not almost like selling a product. So think about me as a photographer. The way I took it as, if I'm not on YouTube to teach someone how to be a better photographer or to give tutorials, then I won't succeed.
Hmm.
And it was that mentality. I was like, that's not fun either, because
Right.
I'm not gonna always have something of value.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Of
And I
course.
tell people like, uh, right now on Instagram, I know, and it's so bad that I know this, but I know what my followers like. I know if I want to post it, if I know what kind of banger that will get the engagement that anyone would want to look for. And it's not me being full of myself. It's just I know my account. I have the
Yeah.
stats.
You've had it for years. You
I
understand
know what
it. You've
people
studied
like.
analytics. It happens. Yeah.
I know what people like.
Hmm.
So I'm not at no point. The moment I start doing that, I'm going back to square one. I'm doing something for the attention. And
Yeah.
yeah, dude. So my my thoughts on all this is just, yes, add value to people's lives, sure,
Hmm.
but that value doesn't always need to, the value isn't what you always think it is. It could just be
Hmm.
you speaking your mind,
Of
you
course. Yeah.
just being present with the audience, you
Hmm.
caring for your 50 viewers or your 10 subscribers.
Hmm.
If you have 100 subscribers, you have 100 authentic subscribers.
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, continue engaging with that. Everything, like the more people, the more people know your authentic true self, and the more they
Hmm.
follow that, the more the algorithm is going to be like, okay, people are actually engaged, so okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep
Yeah.
going. But the more you think about, when you're thinking about your audience all the time, you're just riding trends. That's exhausting to me. To me,
Yeah. Of course. Of
I,
course.
I don't want to speak on behalf of anyone, but that's exhausting. That's, you're writing trends. Like, you say yourself, people are coming to you like, oh man, I'm seeing you're shooting Van City. You're the Van City photographer. You're posting this. You're, people end up knowing you as the Van City photographer, and then one day you're like, crap, I actually love fitness, and I want to show you guys fitness or anything, but I can't because you're not allowing me to, because
Yeah.
I
Of
want to
course.
maintain that engagement. And that's when it ends up
Dude,
being,
the Van City photographer haunts me to this day.
ah,
It's a weird haunting. It's like, so I still get like, it's not. I'm honored. I'm flattered that when people really want my photography, but
yeah,
like it's like I haven't, especially when I haven't posted like a portrait in like, people are like, yo, I see your photography, because I do self portraits for myself now, right?
yeah,
So when people are like, yo, I see you doing your photography, yeah, man, like I'd love to hire you for a shoot. I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, but like if I know the person, I'll be like, okay, well, I'm not shooting anybody right now, but we can make like some kind of exception, whatever. If
yeah, yeah, yeah,
want
yeah, yeah, yeah,
photos,
yeah.
cool, whatever. But in general, it's like when people reach out, I'm like, oh man, people are like, oh, what's going on with photography? And it's like, well, I mean, I haven't gone out to shoot in a while. Like when I shoot, I use my phone, I use a Lightroom app. Fun fact, guys, I haven't taken a photo outside with my. I have a Fujifilm. I have an X-T3. I
Oh,
haven't
nice.
taken the X-T3 out in months. Like I use my phone, like Galaxy S10 Plus. That's all I use. So I'm a
It's not what
fraud.
you use, man. It's how you use it. It's how you
Exactly.
use it. How
Um,
you use it.
but yeah, man, like holy, we're an hour in.
And I feel like we've been talking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys, if you're watching this. I'm sorry if I've been a downer with social media, but
Nah, it's cool. I like
being
that.
honest,
I
like,
really I really like the fact that you're very authentic with it. You're very, because honestly, that's how I feel about social media. Like I had to figure out like this thing, because even me, like I know ego, like I, especially 2016, the biggest issue I had was I had a huge ego. I thought I was so full of myself back then. Like I don't know what happened. I was so full of myself. I was so full of myself. I was trying to like prove to people that I can do something. And when I started to do something, people that never gave me the attention of the day started reaching out to me. And I realized that, but I realized like, is that really gonna give you, bro? Like it's not, it doesn't matter. Like, sure, like it's cool and all, but even the gigs people were hiring me for, it's like sometimes I felt like, yo, I'm not really enjoying this, but people just want, oh, he's the Van City photographer. Oh yeah, we'll put him in, like, oh great, like we got the fancy photographer here, man. Like yo, like that's lit. And I'm just like, well, I don't really like. Sometimes some people would say, hey, can you help me shoot? Where it ended for me was when people started asking me to shoot like for like nightclub and stuff like that, and I don't resonate with that. So I said
Yeah.
I just refused. He's like, yo, man, don't worry, like we'll pay you, we'll give you free drinks. I'm like, nah, that doesn't resonate with me. And from there, I just kind of rebranded. Um,
Yeah, honestly, it's a journey.
yeah, it's a journey.
It's a journey, but I would, if I was to do it all over again, I would almost, I would not think, I would try as much as I can, and I say this, but I would literally try as much as I can
Hmm.
not to focus on others, and
Yeah, of course.
it's an insecurity that I'm not ashamed of admitting. Like I focus so hard
Hmm.
on how people viewed my artwork,
Hmm.
and you forget why you're doing what you're doing.
Of
So
course,
when
of
you do
course.
find people saying, "Yo, fancy photographer," blah blah, blah, I end up thinking, what's their idea of me? Like,
Yeah,
do
of
I like,
course.
what do they, and that's where you kind of have to go back and be like, all right, what's the footprint that I want to leave on this earth? And I know it sounds very cliche, and we're all human, and there's 7 billion people out there. You're not really that significant, but I want to believe that every action that I do has a reaction. Like like someone's going to be affected by it. And
Hmm.
my goal as a content creator now is I want to leave good. So when I talk about something, I want to talk, like when I talk about politics or anything, I'm like, I'm doing it because I'm like, I want to be the better version of myself. I want to leave a good footprint. I want to be known. Okay, fine. You were a guy that was very liberal and you hated cops or whatnot. I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't mind being known to that. I don't care for that. You know what I mean? That's when I feel like you become more authentic, when you don't let your art get, or you don't let your audience get in the way of your craft, whatever that craft is.
Agreed,
um
agreed,
yeah, yeah.
agreed.
I think I will stop there.
Yeah, no, 100%. I appreciate you being here.
Oh,
We're an hour and 17. My battery's probably gonna die in a couple of seconds.
I think my SD card went.
It's full.
You might just
Okay.
have this. I don't know if you'll
Let,
have a second camera, but
if not,
yeah.
it's totally fine. It's the quality's fine.
I do want to
It,
leave one thing though before
yeah,
we wrap
100%,
up.
100%.
Bro, like you don't understand how it like just chatting with you was freaking awesome. Like the memories that you're allowing me to relive,
Mm,
the like, even saying things when I'm saying out loud, I'm like, we talked about meeting over Zoom or whatnot, and I was like, oh man, it could go two ways. It could either you tell me exactly what you're going to ask and I'd prepare and I'd have my, or we just go with the flow and then just figure out what happened.
yeah,
I'm so glad we just went with the flow, because
yeah.
it allowed me to think about so many great memories, just
I
like meeting
appreciate
you,
that.
just being a part of the community. And
Appreciate
I
you sharing.
love seeing what you're doing right now. It's freaking awesome. Kind of inspired to kind of like, okay, I've been preaching about being authentic for this long.
Hmm.
And I have a person in front of me that I see as very authentic, and I'm kind of glad that we connected, man.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm glad that we were able to do this because at that time I like I don't think any of you guys really got to see. I really felt like I wasn't myself. And it's funny because I wrote a bunch of stuff I was gonna like talk to you about and like probably talk about like two of them. But I love it. I love it. I love it because
well,
it was a
there
good
was a few.
flow.
Yeah.
It was amazing. We flowed, we vibed, and that's why like I just hit the record as soon as like I started talking because I was like, dude, like let's just like vibe, let's just see what's going on and let's
Yeah.
see what's up, you know, like
And hey,
yeah.
if people are watching this and they want to see the rest of the stuff that you wanted to talk about, just fucking let us know, and we'll
Oh
have
yeah,
another call,
yeah.
and
We'll
then
have another one
we'll talk
if you
about
guys want to see it. Let us know. With that being said, check out his Instagram e.madou. Check out his YouTube channel e.madou.
oh,
Check out his TikTok. I believe it's a.madou. Even though he's not playing his TikTok, check out his TikTok. You guys like the
oh.
video? Hit like, subscribe. I hope my camera doesn't die, but if it dies, it dies. Uh,
We have
thanks to
Zoom.
we have
Yeah.
Zoom exactly. Thanks to Mado El-Khouly.